Go ahead and follow me over at twitch.tv/luxuryok if you want to see me try to get an actual sub 15 live. I'll be streaming only a couple days after this video goes up, and I'd love to see you there. I just lost a sub 15 to a dragon perch. Yep. You're gonna see how that played out in this video, but let's go ahead and get straight into the run. So I spawn here next to a village, and I don't really have a problem with villages. I think a lot of people going for sub 15 have a reasonable argument against playing out every village, and I'm not going for sub 15, or I wasn't. My PB at the time and recording is 1957, which is not very good for me. I'm playing for sub 18 or even sub 17 right now, and this almost just blew that out of the water. Unfortunately, it did not, as you have seen by the title and the intro. But if you're going for sub 20, I do recommend playing out every village where you can either find a decently sized cave, ocean, desert, or lava pool. And there was an ocean in that direction, so I decided to play this out. Though I did actually want to check this cave, so I went over here to get my stone. But I quickly realized that it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just one of those little fake caves. So I was already considering resetting this, and I probably should have, to be honest, but I'm kind of just grinding out nether entries. Messing up the crafting, by the way. I'm just grinding out nether entries at this point because eventually you play for a god nether just by entering the nether a lot. And this definitely happened because you'll see in this run that the nether was quite good. And then I whiff a couple hits on the golem here. But other than that, this village wasn't played too badly at all. I think it was pretty solid. And we go ahead and continue on with the run. So, here I realize that I don't really have flint, but that's fine. I guess I'll just get it from the ocean. And I noticed this ruined portal, and I'm thinking, alright, I kind of need an iron pick. I'm going to go there and hope I get really lucky. And so I decided to make some doors just in case I end up entering through a magma ravine. Spoiler alert, I did not, but always good to play it safe. And I also make a bucket, and quickly forget I made no boat, so I have to go and make that. So now we're just heading over to the ruined portal and hoping for some good chest loot. Also looking for a magma ravine along the way. If you're wondering why I'm looking through the ocean like this rather than just using Gamma 5 and not having to do it, I personally believe Gamma 5 is cheating because you are entering the game's files and altering something just because it's inconvenient to you. So I don't use Gamma 5, which is a little bit inconvenient to me, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, I guess. Now I'm grabbing this iron, and luckily I got a very good chest and got food and iron and a flint and steel, so I can go ahead and make 2 tools rather than just the pickaxe. And now a mistake I made here that lost me probably 5 seconds was clearing my inventory. I have a bad habit of just clearing it whenever I feel like, which is just not optimal at all because you only need to clear your inventory if you're planning on putting something else in that slot. I could have totally just cleared it while the piglins were trading in the bastion, but OCD got the best of me, I guess. So now we're just heading over. Well, I was assuming I would head over to this desert, and my game freezes up just real fast. So I was assuming I'd head over to this desert, but I did see some light down here. So I decided I needed to go ahead and try to get into the nether fast before this run dies. And it was probably already dead here, but luckily I got a lava pool just like right down here. I don't like playing every single overworld for sub 5 enters. if I have a pick and food, I'll allow it, but even then I still don't really like to. But I decided to do it here just because I kind of liked this run. I was kind of attached to the seed, which is something I don't really recommend being. But now we have some scuffed portal action going on. And I quickly realized that I'm going to have to do some improvisation, so I go ahead and make a 2019 portal. And now we're in the nether at about, I would say, just barely sub 5 with retime. And I see that treasure bastion, as you can see, just for a split second while I was paused, out of the top left of my vision, but I didn't actually notice it. So I noticed a spike in entities in the opposite direction of the fortress, which I did see. So I'm assuming that I'm going to head that way. So I go ahead and go to grab blocks, completely forgetting that I have a gold axe in my inventory and I can just melt some trees to get blocks. So I'm just mining this stuff, which is a straight up time loss. This is like 30 seconds that I just completely forfeited, unfortunately. But now I notice the bastion, and so I feel like an idiot because I'm just gonna mine wood and enter the bastion. So all of the stuff that I just did from entering the nether until right about then was completely useless. The Enderman wants to come along for a ride, but I have to sadly let him down easy. And at this point we're just gonna go ahead and mine a tree with the gold axe. I don't think I used the gold axe for the rest of the run. I didn't really need it. But it was nice to get 30 blocks in like 5 seconds. So now we're just going to go ahead and enter the bastion. And I kind of go to the wrong spot, but that's fine. So I just jump over to the right spot, and here we go. This bastion took around 3 minutes, and that's mostly my fault. I'm not going to claim to have been rolled or anything of the sort, but it was more of just little misplays here and there, and also one big misplay at the end. So I go ahead and opt to do this strat rather than throw gold to the piglins, because it just doesn't seem like a very good use of gold, because a lot of the time in treasure you can just get absolutely rolled on gold blocks. And so it's better to just keep as much as you can from my point of view. People would argue that you don't have to make the helmet, and I would kind of agree, especially if you already have food. In the future, in this situation, I will probably not make a gold helmet, because you're most likely going to get one from chests. But anyway, just going and throwing this gold to the piglins, and heading up to the top rampart. Falling into the hole real quick. But heading up here to throw some gold down. So I opt to do Ninja Brain route. I don't think I pointed this out a second ago, but I like to do Ninja Brain route over 11T route, because when you are able to throw the gold directly down to the piglins, you can keep them trading basically constantly, rather than having to run back down. So now we have to go in here and go on a little hunt for that gold block, and unfortunately the same thing happens up here. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have lavaed to those piglins. There was no reason to. Again, I have so much food. I'm not worried about health. It just makes me have to deal with this, and there was no need to do that. So now I'm just throwing the piglins the rest of this gold, baiting this one guy in, and going to check for obsidian. Luckily I got 4 from that chest, so that's going to be plenty for the run, and I'm totally fine on basically every other resource. And I also realized that I don't need string. I already have 5 beds, so that was kind of a waste of time. And so I have 12 pearls here, or so I think, and so I'm just checking my inventory, sitting here wasting my time because there are pearls behind me. And I go up to check that, and there it is. And so now I have 12 plus 6. which is plenty. That's 18. I'm able to just get out of here. So I quickly forget where the fortress is, just for good measure, and have to kind of look at my coordinates and think which direction it may have been, and I remember that it was Posneg. So now I can actually just head this way. I see it out of the corner of my vision. You may not be able to see it because my bitrate isn't infinity, but we're now able to just launch a pearl up onto the top of the fortress. And I quickly realized that I have no solid blocks in my inventory, or in my hotbar. So luckily I glitched into the wall, because if I didn't, I could have been straight up dead. So now I'm already thinking about blaze bed. I already have a plan to blaze bed, but I kind of forgot that you need a netherrack for that, or a nether brick. Maybe you can do it with a black stone, but I haven't tested it out. I'm too lazy. I probably should. But I quickly realized that. And go ahead and place the last couple blocks. I just ignore the blaze that I launched off into Armenia because I don't really have any way of getting to it. And I'm also getting absolutely comboed by these guys. I should have just stepped back, but now I can finally blaze bed and get out of there before I get meleeed even more. I already have 4 rods, so I know I can probably leave on the next spawn. And a very big mistake I made here was not checking my coordinates to see which direction I need to go. I need to go to the back right of me as I'm standing at the moment. But I didn't check, so that was probably 5 to 10 seconds more that I lost. So I go ahead and take this guy out, and now I know I have 6 rods, so I can just leave. And now I see my chords that I am actually oriented the right way already, so I just go and throw another pearl and almost die. So now we can go and hit to 150, 150. I swear I'm not a non, it just happened to be convenient. But now I'm going to build another portal here and go ahead and blind travel at about 12 minutes in game time, maybe a little bit less, probably a little bit less. So now I go ahead and throw a eye after I craft my eyes. And I throw the first one, and it looks to be about 167, negative 167, yeah. And you could make the argument that I should have just placed my boat and started leaving, but my terrain hadn't fully generated, and I wasn't sure if there would be more terrain there, so I decided to just check the distance anyway. And it changes by 4 degrees, and I'm realizing very quickly that this portal is like 200 to 250 blocks away. And there it is. The portal room is exposed right there, and I'm realizing that I'm about to enter the end at like 13:30, and this is just absolutely insane pace. This is easily sub 15 pace. Okay, maybe not easily, but it's possible. And my heart rate just goes up the wall here. It is like by like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, the fastest pace I've been on. Okay, maybe not 6, but definitely 4 or 5. So now we're just entering the portal room and placing these eyes. Luckily, I didn't have 2 breaks. If I had 2 out of 2 breaks there, that would have been very sad. But no worries, there's plenty of sadness to go around, as you'll see in a couple minutes here. We're just heading into the center to go place our obsidian on the fountain. And at this point, my heart is definitely pounding, but I'm pretty confident because I can 4-bat axe every single dragon. And it's definitely worth the blaze bed because you save much more time doing that than axing the dragon down. Now I thought that was a perch for a second. There was a split second where I thought that was a perch, and I was gonna lose my mind because that would be sub 15, which puts me, I believe, top 30 at the time of recording, maybe even top 20. I'm not exactly sure. But now that it's on my side of the fountain, I'm gonna have to just build up. And I'm not even disappointed, to be honest, because a sub 16 is still a great PB. That's like just massive time jump, and I would be totally satisfied with that. So I'm still building up, and unfortunately it doesn't perch here either. So I'll just go ahead and fast forward through the next couple minutes of agony as you get to perceive it for your own enjoyment. No, I really thought that was a perch there, but unfortunately it was not. And at this point my hopes are basically crushed. Even if this does PB, it's hardly an improvement over my last one, and I wasn't even very happy with my last one. Okay, well I was happy with it, but I know that I can do better, and this run just doesn't really cut the cake at this point. Is cut the cake a saying? If it's not, I probably look like an idiot now. So I'll look at an Enderman here for good measure in a couple seconds. Just to extra kill the run. And there it is. Absolutely astounding play. So I quickly try to grab my boat out of my inventory, put it in my offhand so I can place it. This guy's just destroying it. He takes up the block, and the dragon comes in with a 1-2 punch, just putting it into the dragon's breath. So I grab it again, and then this guy just walks over the boat. He's like way too good at the game. Anyway, I finally get him. I finally best him in a game of wits. And now the dragon is switching sides just to put icing on the cake. And I almost actually nailed the 4-bet. But I'm able to just finish it off with a couple axe hits and finish the run at 19, 20 something probably. As you can see, I'm very frustrated over that run. It's technically a PB, but I'm not too happy with it at all. There wasn't too much I could do. Definitely a good seed. The overworld could have been better, but it was a very good seed overall. And in the great words of some speedrunner, we go next. See you guys.